Hi, my name is Jennifer Farfan. Today, I want to focus on the mega shift from paternalism and partnership to friends and mission. There are 5 points I'd like to discuss today relating to this particular mega shift. From self to servanthood. Western individualism breeds the ideal of self-reliance. This, however, is not as highly valued in more closely bonded and community-oriented African, Asian, and Latin American cultures. I'm reminded of 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10. He said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, and distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." I remind myself at times of this verse when I feel the draw to be self-reliant, autonomous, to be able to do it on my own, when in Christ's economy what he wants of us is dependence on him and the willingness to serve and not think of just oneself. Let's look at Jesus' call to self-denial in the service of the other. The emphasis of self-sufficiency, and autonomy also seems to mitigate against Jesus' call to self-denial in the service of others. I'm reminded of Christ's example of service to others, the night of the Last Supper. Let's take into consideration Jesus' example in John chapter 13. On the night he was to be betrayed, he washed his disciples' feet. He lowered himself to the place and job that typically a servant would do, and showed his disciples what it meant to lower oneself and to serve others. From competitive national agencies to collaborative global networks, we identify areas that need improvement, perhaps areas where our resources aren't being used to their full potential, or perhaps where there are areas saturated with resources, while inadvertently areas are being neglected. We see the need to coordinate our activities and efforts rather than haphazardly race to be the first or to have a presence in a particular area without having properly planned and thought out how we might have the greatest impact for the longest amount of time to the most amount of people possible. From mission to all the world to mission from all the church. Missionary work has traditionally been seen as a specialized task for those that have been trained and ordained. While training and preparation are very important, today's world harvest depends on more than any full-time professional missionary's scope. Missions depends on a multitude of bivocational missionaries. These bivocational missionaries are able to enter restricted access countries. The challenge lies in being able to bring awareness and training to the church. All the church must embody, embrace, and encompass this calling to reach all the world with all the gospel. I'm reminded of 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 to 23. "For though I am free from all men, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win the more. And to the Jews I became a Jew, that I might win Jews. And to those who are under the law, as under the law, that I might win those who are under the law. To those who are without law, as without law, not being without law toward God, but under law toward Christ, that I might win those who are without law. To the weak I became as weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. Now I do this for the gospel's sake, that I may be partaker of it with you." From independence to interdependence. Previously, we had seen a paternalistic dependency, resulting in unhealthy reliance on outside resources, colonial control, and missionary dominance. What our goal and our aim is for these indigenous churches is an autonomy and yet an interdependence on one another. The New Testament ideal, from dependence to independence, and then from independence to interdependence, from foreign partnership in mission to friends and family in mission. This concept of partnership between the sending mission and the receiving church is a great advantage from the paternalism. This further encourages the indigenous church towards the goals of self-governance, self-support, and self-propagation. So in conclusion, we need to be cognizant of the ever-changing world around us and adapt our methods of outreach for the greatest impact.